We are going to talk about a word that we mentioned last week, and the word is astonishment, or astonish. You guys weren't here last week because you have a brand new baby boy, right? You have a brother. Guys, they just had a brand new baby brother. Isn't that fantastic? It's like, woohoo! Yay, Stromber! How cool. Congrats. You guys are used to having babies all the time. All right, so we talked about a word, astonished. The crowds were astonished when Jesus had finished teaching. Who knows what that means? Who has a synonym? Is that too big of a word for some of you guys, or do you know what synonym means? Eleanor, what's a synonym for astonishment?
A synonym?
Yeah.
For astonishment is amazed.
That's a good one. Anybody got another one? Calvin?
Bewildered.
Ooh, wow, that's a big word.
Synonym is a sugar-like substance.
You got another one, James?
Synonym is a sugar-like substance.
No, synonym. Anybody got another one? So we've got astonished, amazed, bewildered. I had one that I was thinking it starts with an S. Surprised. Very good. All right. So we're in Matthew 8, and there's been a bunch of times throughout Matthew where people have been astonished and bewildered and amazed. Okay, the first one that I thought of was when an angel appeared to Mary and said, guess what? You're going to have a baby. Do you think she was a little bit astonished and amazed at that? Yeah, that would have been pretty astonishing. What about when the angel appeared to Joseph and said, guess what? Mary is going to have a baby. And it was all in a dream, and an angel appeared to him. That was probably a bit astonishing, right? And then what was the next one I was thinking of? What did John say when Jesus came to him and said, hey, you're supposed to baptize me? Does anybody remember what John the Baptist said? Eleonora?
That the Lord should baptize him, not him baptizing the Lord, because he baptized with the Holy Spirit, and he baptized with only water.
Yeah. John was like, wait, this should be the other way around. There's no way. He was probably very, very surprised. So John was surprised. So we've had surprises, astonishment. And it's always been the crowds. It's always been the people around Jesus. But we're going to have somebody else who's astonished this week. And it might surprise you a little bit. So I'm going to read our passage for tonight. And I want you guys to listen very, very carefully. The Bible isn't going to use the word astonishment, but it's going to use a different word. And I want you to listen to who is surprised, who is amazed, and who is bewildered. Thank you, Calvin. All right, everybody listening? Everybody ready?
In what chapter?
It's Matthew 8. Oh, yeah, if you guys want to follow along, you can turn to Matthew 8. I'm sorry. Forgot to do it. Most of you are there. Yes, Mr. Corey.
Matthew 8 what?
Verse 5.
Yeah.
Give me a thumbs up when everybody's there. Hi, cricket. There are little baby crickets here. Chapter 8, verse 5. Calvin, leave the crickets alone. They're wanting to listen
They're
to.
chasing him. They're chasing him.
All right. Eleanor, are you good? Naomi, you're good?
Actually,
All right, we're all good?
sometimes I can't read it in a bit now.
Well, that's okay. We're going to listen right now, all right? So listen to the person who was astonished and amazed, all right? When he entered Capernaum, it's talking about Jesus, a centurion came forward to him, appealing to him, Lord, my servant is lying paralyzed at home, suffering terribly. And he said to him, I will come and heal him. But the centurion replied, Lord, I am not worthy to have you come under my roof, but only say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, go, and he goes. And to another, come, and he comes. And to my servant, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he marveled and said to those who followed him, truly I tell you, that with no one in Israel have I found such faith. I tell you, many will come from the east and west and recline at table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven, while the sons of the kingdom will be thrown into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. And to the centurion Jesus said, "Go, let it be done for you as you have believed." And the servant was healed at that very moment. All right. Did anybody pick up on the person who was astonished? Joel? Jesus. Yeah. Every other instance, we've had the crowds or the people around Jesus being astonished. But this time, Jesus is floored. And does anybody know why he was floored? Calvatron?
He didn't find anyone else with greater faith in all of Israel.
Yeah.
This was just at like the start of his ministry.
Yeah. All of a sudden, this guy, what is this guy? What is his job?
A centurion.
Yeah.
He's a commander in the army.
Yeah. He's a commander in the army, and he has more faith than anybody that he's seen in Israel. And guess what? The people in Israel of that time, they were not a fan of the Romans. The Romans came into their land, they taxed them, they patrolled their streets, they genuinely made life worse for Israel. And so this guy is willing to approach Jesus, and he has more faith than anybody there. And that's a pretty amazing statement by Jesus if you think about it. So he tells him that his servant is sick, paralyzed at home. Jesus, being the cool guy that he is, he's like, "I'll just come heal him. Don't worry about it. I'll just come to your house." Which that was kind of, you wouldn't, a good Jewish teacher would not go to a Roman's house. That was just off limits culturally. You just don't do that. But here's the bonkers crazy thing is the centurion understands how much power that Jesus has. That he is all powerful, and that he says, "Nope, you don't need to come over. I know that with a word like that, you can heal my servant." That's how much faith this centurion has, which is amazing. We haven't seen this in the Bible before. So Jesus turns to the crowds, and now it's Jesus' turn to shock everybody. So Jesus got astonished, and now he's going to turn to everybody and he's going to shock them up because he's going to change their thinking entirely. He's going to blow up their worldview, and now they're going to be shocked again. All right. Can somebody read verse 11 for me? Joel, go for verse 11. Nice and loud.
So Matthew 8, verse 11.
Correct.
I tell you, many will come from the east and the west and will recline at the table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. While the sons of the kingdom will be thrown into the
Wait,
outer
pause. I just want 11. Sorry. So, I tell you, many will come from the east and the west and recline at table. What does recline at table mean? That's kind of an odd phrase. Have you guys ever been sitting at dinner and maybe there's another family over and all the kids finish eating and then all the parents just kind of lean back in their chairs and they say, "So, how's this and this," or whatever, and they kind of relax. Have you guys ever had your parents do that and you're like, "Please just let us go play games"? They would, it means to sit back and to relax. Well, you've just finished a big meal, you're hanging out, your belly's full, and you just want to sit back and just hang out. So that's what Jesus says. So Jesus says that people from every nation, from every tongue, every tribe, no matter what, will sit at table with who?
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Who are Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? And why would that be significant? Anybody besides Augusty? You guys answer way too much. James, go for it. They were important. Why were they important? Well, here's the thing. They were the first guys. They were yeah, good job, Gal. They were the fathers of Israel. They were like the most important dudes to all the Jewish people, to all of Israel. And who is sitting with them?
Commoners.
People who are not from Israel. These were the superstars, the heroes of Israel. And to have people that were not Jewish to sit with them is weird. Okay, now it's going to get even crazier. Who wants to read verse 12? Joel, you were right there at 12. You go for it. Nice and loud.
While the sons of the kingdom will be thrown into the outer darkness, and gnashing of teeth.
So, not only will people from outside Israel be sitting and hanging out with these guys, where will some Israelites be? What is the place where they will be weeping and gnashing of teeth? What does that mean? Where is that? Anybody know? That's hell. That's where that is. Where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. God says in heaven there will be no more crying. There will be no more tears. There won't be gnashing your teeth. Means you're like, if you're just so angry, you're like growling at somebody. That's what gnashing of teeth. That's where some of the Israelites will be. Now, this kind of blows up on Israel. They don't really understand this because kind of an idea back then was if you were Jewish, if you did all the sacrifices, you would go to heaven. That's it. No questions asked. You're part of the tribe. You're part of Israel. You were just good. And Jesus is going back to this idea of it's what's on the inside that counts, not what's on the outside. All right? Do you remember us talking about that last week? That Jesus wants your heart. He wants what the inward is. So, and I think a lot of people think similarly today. How many people think, I go to church, my parents go to church, my grandparents went to church, that means I'm going to heaven, right? Is that true? Not at all. Very good. Very good. I'm glad you guys know that. So, Jesus is reinforcing this idea that it's not what you look like, it's not how tall you are, it's not how, well, you've got dark hair, I'm sorry, that's you're out. There's nothing about that. Jesus wants to know what's in your heart. He wants you to give that to him. And also, Jesus came for the outsiders. Think about it. Was the leper accepted into society? No. Is this Roman centurion liked by most people? No. No, not at all. They were outsiders. And we're going to see a little bit more of that in a second. Here's the crazy thing. Even though the Jewish people thought, hey, it's just the Jews that are going to heaven. That's it. Everybody on the outside. Guess what God's been telling them from the very, 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 very beginning? It's not true. Everybody will be blessed by Jesus. Who can keep their thumb in Matthew 8 and turn back to Genesis 12 for me?
I can.
Calvin? All right, go for it. Keep your thumb there.
Genesis 8?
Genesis 12.
I got there.
Oh, all right. James beat you. Sorry, buddy. All right, Genesis 12, 1 through 3. Can you read that nice and loud for me, James? Louder. Come on, man. You could do it.
Now the Lord has said unto Abraham, get thee out of the country and from the kindred and from the father's house unto a land that I will show thee, and I will make of thee a great nation, and will bless thee and make thy name great. Thou be blessing, and I will bless them that bless thee, cursing them so all families of the earth be blessed.
So that is what's called right there the Abrahamic covenant right there. And what God is saying is, Abraham, I need you to get out of the place that you're in, and I'm going to make a plan for you, and I'm going to give you a land, and there will be a nation that is great. And what does the very, very end of this say? I'm going to read it again. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed.
What?
Genesis 12. It's very, very early. I mean, we're only 12 chapters in the Bible, and God's saying that through Israel, through the Jewish people, all the peoples of the earth were blessed. Everybody. So, who is somebody that's Jewish, that's very, very, very important, that we've been talking about all these weeks? Calvin.
Jesus?
Jesus, yeah. Jesus is Jewish. And guess what? Through Jesus, everybody on the world can be blessed. And Jesus is saying that this isn't a secret club. It's not a secret kingdom for certain people. It's free to anybody who places their faith in him. So we're going to go now to, so you guys can all go back to Matthew 8, and we're going to go to the next part. We're going to look at 14 through 17. If you guys get there, give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up.
May I read it?
All right, I need one volunteer to read 14. Naomi, you can read 14. 15. Calvin. 16. James. 17. Ethan? Come on. All right, 17. Wait, who's reading 16? I'll finish it off. I'll read 17. Okay. 14. Go for it, Naomi.
And when Jesus entered Peter's house, he saw his mother-in-law lying sick with a fever.
15.
Jesus touched her hand, and the fever left her. She got up and began to wait on him.
16.
When Jesus was come, they brought unto him many that were possessed with devils, and he cast out the spirits with his word and healed all that were sick.
This was to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah. He took our illness and bore our diseases. All right. So next person is going to be another outsider that Jesus is going to heal. And you're like, what? She was a woman. Well, in Israel at that time, women weren't that highly regarded. They weren't thought of as that much. Like if you were going to go down the chain societally and culturally, it would be the priests and the scribes and the Pharisees and all the rabbis. Those guys are at the top. And then you're going to go down to the landowners, the guys with the big houses and the farms where people would go to work. And then you're going to go to the craftsmen and the artisans and the people who made fancy things. And then you're going to go to the fathers because they were highly respected. And then you're going to go to their firstborn sons because they would get all the father's stuff. And then you're going to go to the other sons. And then there was women. And it's almost like if you think about today, we always tend to look at the athletes and the celebrities as the top, and then the people with the big houses, and then the people with the fancy cars and stuff. So in that society, women were just not thought of as that highly. It wasn't that there was anything wrong. They weren't given the amount of respect that we give women now. And so what does Jesus do? He walks into the house, he sees that she's sick, and he walks up to her and he heals her. There's almost a certain amount where they didn't bring her to Jesus because she'll be fine. She's just got a fever. She'll be healed. And Jesus, he doesn't care that it's just a fever. He doesn't care that somebody's paralyzed or a leper. He just heals her. Just out of kindness. Another outsider that is just a little bit sick. And then after that, what happens? Who is listening along? It says, in the evening, you guys can look at 16. What happens in verse 16? That's okay. We got to keep going. Naomi, in verse 16, what happens?
They brought a lot. Can I just read it?
Yeah.
That evening they brought to him many who were asked by demons, and he cast out the spirits with a word and healed all who were sick.
Yeah. So Jesus, after healing all these outsiders, just keeps healing people. And he doesn't ask, are you Jewish? Are you tall? Oh, you're too tall. Get out of here. I can't heal you. Are you... He doesn't care. He doesn't care what they look like. He just does it because he's generous and loving. Anybody who they brought to him. And that's to fulfill, Matthew says it's to fulfill prophecy. And if you look back, that prophecy is from Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53, we get this beautiful, amazing prophecy of Jesus. That he would come to heal us, that he would bear our afflictions and our sorrows, that he would take the death that we deserve. Guys, I don't know if there's anything more astonishing than that. that you and I sinned, that we did wrong. And Jesus said, instead of you dying, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to die. Isaiah 53. You guys don't have to turn there. Sorry, I was just going to mention it. That's where the prophecy is from. The God of the universe, the guy who created everything, all-knowing, all-powerful, came to die for us. And that's the really astonishing thing out of everything. All right. That's it for tonight. I'm going to pray. But what I would encourage you guys this week, James, you're headed to Isaiah 53. When you're at home this week sometime, read through all of Isaiah 53 with your families. All right? And there's a lot of prophecies, and you guys can talk through what some of the things mean. And you can look and see, oh, Jesus fulfilled that here. Jesus did this here. And it's a really cool thing, and it's a lot of fun. So do that with your families sometime this week, and I'm going to pray, and that's going to be it. All right?
Except there isn't Isaiah 53.
There is. Well, we'll find it later, all right? All right. Dear Lord, thank you for today. Thank you that everybody could come. Thank you that you did come down, that you decided to become man and die for us so that we can live. Let those who want that life with you give themselves to you and take that free gift of salvation. Amen.